Yeah, so good old K-12. So, folks, we have an Indiana representative, and it's Rep. Jim Lucas. And what old Jim did was he was having a conversation with some gun banners in Indiana. And in the conversation, he's talking about concealed carry and firearms and, how normal it is. And he's having this conversation. He just briefly opens his jacket in the conversation just to say, look, I have a firearm on. Basically, there's nothing here to fear. Right.
Right.
And it was not done in a threatening way. So K-12 completely misrepresents what actually transpired, takes some stills from the video. He could have just posted the video, but see, that would defeat his case.
Yeah.
He posts the stills of him holding the jacket open because it was a blip. It was like this. And then he goes, a woman is walking with her kids when a man approaches, just out of the blue. Watch the video. We're going to just kind of overlay it here with no audio.
Have the video,
so you kind of see the context, right? And so a woman and her kids, when a man approaches, opens his jacket and displays a gun. Felony? Indiana State Rep. Jim Lucas flashed a gun at kids representing students demand action yesterday. Felony? And as you can see in the video that's playing right now, folks, he's just having a conversation with these people. They're there to protest gun ownership. He doesn't do anything threatening. Felony? And then, of course, the conversations turn to, well, was that brandishing? Well, actually, no. Under Indiana state law, it is not brandishing. Under Indiana state law, and I confirmed this, brandishing is pointing a firearm at somebody. The gun was in its holster. He didn't brandish anything.
Yeah.
And so now, I will say, good taste? No.
Nope.
I mean, you shouldn't have done that, right? You should have known that was going to blow up in your face. Did he break a law? Absolutely not.
Not at all.
So,
not a little bit.
Is this a news story? No, because this is what happens when a rep does something like this, not thinking, just in the moment, something completely passive and non-aggressive, but somebody like K-12 is going to get a hold of this, and then they're going to run up the flagpole, and they're going to try to make you look like some crazy lunatic that was brandishing firearms to a woman just happening by. She wasn't there to protest or anything. She was just walking by, and this rep jumps out like an AR-15 from behind a bush, whips a gun out, and threatens everybody in the room, and then just drifts back off into the back room somewhere.
Fades off like Homer Simpson into some bushes. Yep, every time.
That's the K-12 version of events. Reality is the video we just showed you guys.
That's exactly right. And, I just want to say one thing that you just hit on, and I think this is important. Obviously, this is a hit piece. Obviously, this is a mountain out of a molehill. Obviously, this is just marketing. But having said that, if you're on the gun side of the spectrum, or you're a rep on the Republican side that is defending the pro-right side, and you obviously are backing your right to carry a firearm, you should know that when you're talking to March for Our Lives or Students Demand Action, where they have a predetermined outcome on anything that you say, you probably shouldn't use props as an example to illustrate your point, because they're going to be used against you. Just like you can't say specific phrases because it will be used against you. If you can't handle this part of the conversation, don't have this part of the conversation. Now, again, Tim, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't break any laws, didn't break any rules, but you're setting yourself up for failure because the people that you're talking to aren't operating in good faith. They're operating in a manipulative operation. And when you do this, you play right into their hands.
Yep. And that's exactly what K-12 did in every town, and, moms and Giffords and all those groups.
It's going to be a thing.
They're all going to jump on this and do the exact same thing K-12 did, show it completely out of context, use a still, not the video, because the video destroys their arguments. And then they're going to pretend like the world's coming to an end because a rep pulled out a firearm and shot 50 people, mostly children, in the womb. And I mean, the narrative is so ridiculous.
It really is.
But like you said, if we in the two-way movement, we have to be so careful what we say and do in public, because anything that we say or do can be taken out of context and purposely used to not only attack us, but the entire movement. And so they're not just attacking the rep here. They're trying to paint all gun owners as lunatics. Anybody that 100%. Has a concealed carry permit, they're trying to make us all look like a bunch of crazies.
Right. And there's a benefit in Indiana because that's recently a constitutional carry state.
That's right. It is a constitutional carry state now.
That's the benefit. That's what they did. That's what they got out of it. But you know what? Enough of these people acting like dicks. It's time to talk about penises.
So, yesterday we kind of dove into this a little bit because our friend, you are a smart ass, Carl, was addressing the fact that the anti-gunners constantly associate gun ownership with male reproductive organs. And sure enough, when I'm looking at the story from K-12 database, what occurs in the comment section, an orange square pops in, Rago 2, and she has this to say. Okay, check this one out. I swear, flashing your gun what she meant to say is the new flashing your dick. It's the same thing. Both are used to intimidate, threaten, and make others afraid of what you will do to them. I mean, because that's what the military does. Before a military attacks another position, they all pull their dicks out and they run directly at the enemy because the dicks are supposed to scare them, right? And what do you do when you want to walk into a room in a meeting for the first time, like in a business setting? You want to assert dominance. So you whip your dick out and you let everybody know, hey, I mean business here.
Every time.
This woman is nuts, people. And so my response to her was, why do all of you orange square types have such an unrelenting fascination with dicks?
It's true.
They're sick people.
It's just weird. It's just weird.
It is funny.
It's weird and it's funny and it's just like, why does this continue to happen? And to your point, let's just break this down, this deep assessment of thought, because this is really, really stiff thinking. I swear flashing your gun is the new flashing your dick. Okay, so
it's the new, because flashing your privates has been a thing forever. I mean, it just happens.
It'd be like that.
I was just at McDonald's getting my Egg McMuffin, and some guy pulled his wiener out to assert dominance over the cashier. It was unreal, but
it was crazy. He wanted to get to the front of the line because clearly,
if only he had a gun.
Yeah. Man, I know, but you know what? It's the new flashing your. It's just weird. So it's the same thing, and I kind of honed in on something a little bit different here. Both are used to intimidate and threaten and make others afraid. Okay, let's set up camp on that for a second, Tim. If a dude walks into a room, God, I can't. The fact that I'm even having to have
right
this.
Here. Yeah.
Oh, I don't need to think about that. The fact that I have to even have this conversation in a gun rights channel is so stupid, but we're going to because we have to. If some dude, God, this sentence, I never thought I'd say this sentence around gun rights. If a guy walks into a room and whips out his dick, is your first thought go intimidation, horror, fear, or do you go, well, that's an interesting move? Like
that's a power move. It's like,
I mean,
now, mind you, I've never seen this occur, but I would have to imagine if I were in a meeting and some guy just walked in, pulled it out, like, hey, I'm here to threaten you all. I'd bust up laughing. I mean,
right.
This goes back. She's female and she's talking about men using their penises to intimidate others. I mean, she really says this. Like, it's like this is how far the man hating. This is toxic masculinity, folks. We use our penises to assert dominance in meetings, anywhere in society. We just whip it out whenever we feel uncomfortable and we want to threaten other people.
God,
it really happens.
It's weird. I mean, like, you can imagine, like, in their meetings, it's like they have this one-eyed monster and it stares at you and it's terrifying. Like, what? Dude, any guy that I know, if some guy walked into a room and you've never met him and he whips his junk out, the first person to make the best dick joke wins. I mean, like,
right.
Oh, is it cold out? I mean, like, immediately. And that's just the entry level. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's like, wow. That was a statement.
And what's funny is in her avatar, it looks like she's leaning on the shoulder of perhaps her husband. And if that's her husband, I wonder, did he intimidate her by whipping it out when they first met? I mean, should we call the police? Is she under duress right now because there's a penis in frame with her?
Makes other people
Those
afraid.
Those penises, you never know what they're going to do, dude. They're extremely violent organs.
That's 2 days in a row, which we've had penises or fake penises make an appearance on Second Legacy. I can't wait to see what the left brings us next.
Well, we'll just leave it with that, folks. Chew on that one for a while.
No, don't. No, don't.
No. All right, folks. We better quit before we get banned from YouTube forever. Thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.